Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. So it looks like आज हम conclude करेंगे theory को जो basic level की है on building relationships and resolving conflict. So I'll go briefly through हम कहाँ से शुरू हुए थे and where we are at, so you can connect the dots together. So वहाँ पहला topic था what we really looked at, what is conflict, what are relationships, and we said कि relationship आपका अपने साथ है, that is a very key relationship. वो कितना मजबूत है, that truly depends on your relationship with Allah Ta'ala. So those of you who are on the course, inshallah, through that journey, that relationship will strengthen. अच्छा, आपके बाकी relationships really depend on that relationship that you have with yourself. And then you have relationships in the home, you have it at work, you have it in the community, and we see it across nations and the world. We are connected in some way, we are impacted in some way by all these relationships.
उसको मैं सोची सैटरडे को ना आपको छोड़ दूंगी, मैं फिर उधर वाईसी में चली जाऊंगी हमेशा। सैटरडे को जो मैंने बुलाया ना वो अच्छा होगा, मैंने स्पेशली इनवाइट किया आपको, तो आपको जाना चाहिए।
Is Shasi able to close the
Everything.
wait? Okay.
All right. So then we went on to see कि आपको assess करने थे कि आपकी life में क्या relationships हैं, and you're looking at determining the kind of relationship you want with everybody who's important to you in your life. तो आप उस पे scale लगाएंगे कि मुझे किस किस्म का relationship चाहिए. So for that, you really need to have the high affinity level, the reality level. अपने mind में आपको क्या चाहिए वो real होना चाहिए, right? So if you have a child, you need to have reality on what kind of relationship you want with them, कितनी level of affinity आपको चाहिए, किस किस्म की communication you want. You're really writing down your whole plan of this is my desired state. जब आप desired state को define नहीं करते, जो most of us don't do it, we just think ये सही हो जाएगा, ये सही, फिर नहीं होता, फिर ये क्या हो गया? But we don't have what we are aiming for. So what we are saying is you should have that. You should have that picture of what you want in that relationship, क्योंकि वो आपको drive करेगी उसी तरह. So have an understanding of what you want in a relationship, and whichever level, किसी के साथ, spouse के साथ, बच्चे के साथ, friends के साथ, work colleagues के साथ, do that. And then we went on to see कि आप कि अभी जो है perceived state जो है relationship की, उसकी भी understanding आपके पास होनी चाहिए. So however bad it is, या नहीं है relationship, एक तो bad हो सकती है, एक है ही नहीं, कोई काम बातचीत ही नहीं हो रही, कुछ भी नहीं है, disconnection है, right? So you need to have affinity for that state of whatever it is. क्यों होनी चाहिए आपको affinity उसके साथ? Because if you really hate it, you don't like it, you despise it, so आप उस level पे अगर काम करेंगे तो आपकी emotional state जो है वो false self में है, वो true self में नहीं है. So you won't be able to bring the change you want, right? So your affinity level has to be very high for whatever the condition is at that time. उसके साथ आपके सारे facts होने चाहिए. You should understand what is the perceived state, understand वो क्यों हुआ, कैसे उभरता है, अगर लड़ाई झगड़े हो रहे हैं, conflict हो रहा है, किसी खास बात पे हो रहे हैं, या generally होते हैं, कोई और कमरे में आ जाता है तो होते हैं, या वैसे ही होते हैं, और किसी खास time day पे होते हैं. Just look at it when get as much reality as you can on what is the perceived state of that area that you're trying to improve on. And, your communication is, in this case, in order to determine it, is with yourself. You've got a past history, find out what all that is. अपने mind में तो आपका clear होना चाहिए what is the perceived state and what is the desired state, right? And then we went on to see के आप इस अभी आप अपने problem को ही analyze कर रहे हैं. You haven't stepped out into fixing it yet. So then we looked at in our second talk के problems जो हैं, एक तो आप उस नजरिए से देख रहे हैं कि कब होता है, कैसे होता है, क्या trigger करता है, and then we are looking at specifically 4 areas जिसकी वजह से conflict होता है, and one of them is the values and interest का difference. I think we need to, can we mute everybody? Okay. So we look at values and interest का difference क्योंकि इसकी वजह से we will get conflict. So आपको अपने values पता होने चाहिए और दूसरे बंदे के भी values पता होने चाहिए, अपना interest पता होना चाहिए, उनका भी interest पता होना चाहिए. And you're just trying to understand the problems over here in order to get a grip of the reality. अभी आप अपनी भी देख रहे हैं, उसका भी देख रहे हैं, understanding, right? And you know the values के difference से, because that gives you the belief systems on which you act and speak and react, तो वो problem करेंगे क्योंकि उससे they impact on the very decisions you make and the actions you do. So you have to be aware of it, whether that's causing it. And interest के difference को भी देखें, it can be worked out, both things can be worked out. It's not like it's not workable. It can be worked out, but you must be aware of it. फिर दूसरा हम देख रहे थे कि पावर की डिफरेंसेस हैं and they are not always visible. They exist and they are underlying. तो पहले तो आप अपने में देखें कि आपके अंदर, do you feel a power difference in this relationship? Do you feel threatened? Do you feel that you can't speak? Do you feel that you're less important? अपने को अपना पावर देखें, आपने अपने खुद को कितना डिनाई किया हुआ है और क्यों डिनाई किया हुआ है, और वो जो भी बिलीफ सिस्टम है उसको सही करें. Because you're a creation of Allah Ta'ala. Why should you feel like that? Why should you feel less? Or why should you feel more? That's also not okay, right? So you analyze that, and then you also look at the other person, whether वो इस situation में है कि वो अपने को कम कर रहे हैं या कि ज़्यादा कर रहे हैं. So you got to understand power differences even to understand the problem so that you can address it then, right? So power differences को भी देखेंगे, इसमें आप ख्याल करेंगे कि आप किसी के साथ compare और compete ना करें. You're an individual. अल्लाह ताला ने आपको खास purpose के लिए भेजा है, and you can continue your journey. It is a unique and a beautiful journey that Allah Ta'ala has laid for you, and you live that life instead of somebody else's life. And at the same time, आप दूसरे को भी rights दें और अपने खुद को भी rights दें. And then we talked about data differences के उसका भी ख्याल करें कि आप you don't go into assumptions, you check your facts, you don't have somebody triggering a fight between you and somebody else. We talked about कि there इस पे data differences create हो सकते हैं because somebody is stirring the pot. So you again have to see कि आप में ये qualities हैं कि आप assume तो नहीं कर लेते चीज़ों को. You check your data, verify it, be sure it's correct. फिर से पूछ लें कि भाई ये आपने बोला है. If you're feeling like ये क्या बोल दिया मुझे. So just verify whether it was actually said and that was intended or not. और उनकी तरफ भी देखें अगर वो अपसेट हो रहे हैं या क्या हो रहे हैं, उन्होंने क्या समझा है. Just verify what they have understood. Maybe there's an error there. And then we talked about the personality differences की वजह से conflict हो सकता है. And this is where we are talking about the consciousness level of a person. That different people are at different consciousness levels, and therefore a conflict will arise because they're looking at everything different. If they are at fear or they're at anger or they're boredom, उनको हर चीज की perception फर्क है. So in that sense, and you are going to get conflicts over there. And the more you're aware of that thing, the more आपको अपनी पता होना चाहिए आपकी consciousness level क्या है mostly, where you reside, और उनकी भी आपको पता होनी चाहिए कि वो कहाँ पे reside करते हैं ज़्यादातर. And you know, if something, there are certain topics they are very sensitive on, तो उनकी consciousness level drop हो जाती है या आपकी drop हो जाती है. You know, so be aware of that. It's just you're gaining reality. ARC hai. You're communicating with her and understanding the problem in that way. Okay. And then we went to, you know, personality difference was the major cause for creating all the other conflicts as well. So we were saying it's very, very important that you predict human behavior. कि वो एक बंदा जो फियर पे है वो एक ही डेटा को जो आप देख रहे हैं उसको बिल्कुल डिफरेंटली देख रहा है. So you need to be aware of the attributes of the different level of consciousness के वो कैसे deal करेंगे एक situation से, कैसे उनके decisions होंगे, you know, what kind of a job will they pick, how will they see a situation, and the more you can predict that, the more reality you have on them, and you can see your reality and their reality, and you can bring about you'll have the affinity, and then you can communicate according to what their understanding is, right? जहाँ पे वो समझ सकते हैं बात को, आप वहाँ पे बात करेंगे, right? So we went through this. This was our third talk, and then we also covered this bit that आपको इसमें एक पॉइंट मैंने इससे लिखा है क्योंकि आप अपना हैबिट देखें कि आप कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होता है तो आप क्या करते हैं. What is your habit? You know, sometimes it's not, sometimes we run away from conflict because of our past experiences, but sometimes we train ourselves to do that. You know, we train a conflict over, I walk out. Okay, conflict over, I change the topic. So it's something that you need to see that आप में हैबिट क्या है, क्योंकि हर स्टेप जो 5 steps हैं 4 का नुकसान ही नुकसान है if it's a long term relationship. It will build up and it will you know, explode at some point if you're all the time compromising, or you're all the time letting them have their way, or you're taking your way and not allowing them. So compromise में भी ये होएगा. It just is you know, the only way is to discuss it out and come with a good solution together. So habits को देखें अपने के भी और दूसरे person के भी, and try and bring it to a point where you're both ready to discuss things openly and share things with each other. All right, and then we talked about reality. You know, as a person, our journey is of self-improvement. हमें अल्लाह ताला के पास pure जाना है वापस. And it's a constant trial, it's an exam, it's a test for us, life. So we are trying to improve ourselves, trying to make ourselves better, or mistakes होती हैं, उनको भी admit करके we keep on improving ourselves. So we are not perfect. The world is not perfect. No situation is perfect. But we are here to improve it. So एक तो हमें उस situation को देखना है कि वो क्या है, उसके साथ ARC रखनी है, understanding रखनी है, and then we also have to aim very high on what it should be like and what we should be like as a person. You know, can you write something for yourself, and what would be the real true self of you? You know, it would be nice if you did that. What would it be, a true self? You know, how would a true self behave of you if somebody was accusing you of fighting with you? What would they do? क्या बोलेंगे आप chat में बताएं मुझे क्या करेंगे? What would you do? Somebody's calling you names, saying you're very, you know, you're always looking at the negative side of life and creating trouble, this, that, and the other. What should you be doing as the true self? What do you think? Okay, good. Yeah, stay calm, try to understand. Okay, fine. All right. So that is the purpose That is our purpose in running these sessions, is that you have a true, real, you're convinced that you have to keep yourself in true self. That is the journey of life. अगर आप उसी पे रहे तो you're safe all the way through. And that is what we are all trying to do, in order to win in this life and the next one, by being true selves. So we are trying to make a better family, we're trying to make a better community, and we talked about from the viewpoint of कि reality सही नहीं है और दूसरे बंदे की कोई और reality है आज ही के situation के बारे में, और हम as Muslims, we want to change the reality of the world. We do want to make it a different, better world, right? So उसके करने के लिए we could all sit back and say, okay, कुछ भी नहीं करना, ये जो है जैसा है वैसा है. But that's not being a Muslim. And we've done it for long enough. That's why it's in the situation it is in. We just ignored it. And it's gone this far now that now we are so concerned what's going to happen to our kids. हम तो निकल गए फिर भी. But they are in for a lot of trouble if we don't change things and we don't change agreements. और जो कुछ भी आज दुनिया में हो रहा है, it's really a collection of agreements. People agreed. So we'll go over this, Aisha, कि क्या करना चाहिए. We'll go over it. So we are saying कि आपको जो आयतें हमने देखी थी सूरह बकरा की 42 के go for haq and away from batil. We covered this, right? So isme haq was the truth, whatever truth is, and we had gave a very wide definition of truth. I don't know whether you remember it. It includes wisdom, it includes justice, it includes whatever the facts are, reality is. और आपको स्पीक करना है, ट्रूथ रिवील करना है, मैनिफेस्ट करना है, यानी आपको एक्ट भी करना है, नॉट जस्ट हैव इट इन योर हेड. यू हैव टू एक्चुअली मैनिफेस्ट इट एंड शो अ ट्रूथ और राइट. वो हक पे चलने वाली बात है. सो वी वर सेइंग कि आप हक पे चलें तो हमें पहले खुद चलना है. We have to correct ourselves and we have to stay away from batil, which is becoming false, untrue, wrong, incorrect. इसमें भी फेक चीजें ना हो. हम कह रहे थे कि जो बातिल की डेफिनेशन है पर दी अरबिक रूट लेटर्स, वी आर लुकिंग एट ओपिनियंस ऑफ वंस अपीयरेंस बहुत हाई हो, वो भी बातिल में आ जाता है. एबिलिटीज को बहुत कुछ समझना अपने को, वो भी बातिल में आ जाता है. अपनी जो भी हम काम कर रहे हैं उस पर भी हम बहुत फख्र करें या कुछ करें, तो दैट अगेन इज नॉट द राइट वे. सो इट्स ऑल अबाउट कैरेक्टर रियली. जिसमें कैरेक्टर नहीं है वो बातिल की डेफिनेशन में आ जाता है. एंड जेस्टिंग एंड जोकिंग इज ऑल्सो कम्स इन दैट. परसूट, आप अगर लाइफ में परसू कर रहे हैं रॉन्ग चीज़ों की तरफ, वो भी बातिल में आ जाता है. if it's diverting you from the right path of Allah Ta'ala, then ignorant conduct हो जाता है, वो भी उसी में आ जाएगा. And हमने बोला कि बातिल includes iblis and शैतान की जो चीजें हैं वो भी उसी में आ जाती है. So one who says says a thing in which there is no truth or reality, and जो speech को बदल के बोल देते हैं, confuse करके बोल देते हैं, वो भी सब बातिल में आ जाता है. So we were talking about ये चीजें हमें अपने में भी कम करनी है and दूसरे में भी spot करनी है, observe करनी है, because it directly impacts on us and creates a culture like that. At the moment, there's a lot of batil around. And we can see it everywhere. आपके सारे definitions watered down है, whether it's a teacher, आप अगर mosque के area में जाएं, the actual place of mosque, what it should give you, उसकी definition watered down हो गई है. And we've education में teachers की water down हो गई, politicians की water down हो गई, parent की water down हो गई है definitions. So we have to move collectively towards haq, and that is what our whole VOTP Find Your Truth mission is, that together as a team we go towards that. And the other thing we said, avoid assuming things. We get told things or we hear half information, we dub in half of it. So we should stop doing that and do not follow off that which you have no knowledge. So इनकी जो detail था ये हमने last sessions में किया है, and if anybody wants to look at it, please do so. And then we came on to developing understanding, and we looked at the rules. क्या है इन तीनों के, each point depends on the other, and we covered how do you talk to a person who you do not know. So, and they are not equilateral. C is the most important. We said communication is the most important. Communication से ही आपकी सब चीज शुरू होती है. आप मुझे देखते हैं, then I talk afterwards, or we talk afterwards. You see me, and then I'm there, and then you have the affinity and reality. So it all begins with my becoming real. Even if you can't see me physically, you can sense me. So that's also a form of communication, right? Even if I'm on the phone or something like that, okay? And then we looked at how to talk to someone who you have a disagreement with, and you have to have your high level of affinity. So last वाले lecture में हमने देखा कि you must be responsible to verify. We were looking at बहुत सारी news or data आता है into our homes, and we act on them, and it's our job to verify the report of fasiq, and we cleared the word fasiq, which has a very, very deep meaning. Again, I won't go into all of it now. और अपने में prevent करें जहालत, do not spy, do not backbite. Groups should not ridicule other groups. इसको भी हमने यस्कर को भी deep meaning देखी थी. Women should not यस्कर ridicule women, and we said that no insulting of each other. So no calling each other lakabs and nicknames. So this was how we concluded our last session. So let me see क्या understanding है आपकी इस area में. Let's do a quiz on this area. Let's see how you do that. Hopefully it will come through. Can you see it? Yeah? So only one question in there. With questions or to पूछें, otherwise we'll, it's just, this is just taking you to the point of where we were initially, but putting in ARC in it so you can see the application of it. How are we doing? समझ आ रही है? कोई problem? We are trying. Rest of it. Are we done? Yeah. Everybody's done? Okay. Let's look at it. कोई question पूछने हैं तो पूछें, नहीं तो we move forward. Is it okay? Any questions? No. Okay. So हम क्या कह रहे हैं कि आपके अपने relationships में ये अपने rules बना लें कि आप moving towards a desired state, आपने अपनी desired state define कर लिया relationship में. So you showed understanding and empathy. ये make this your own rule, and respect yourself and respect the other person. ये दोनों चीजें important हैं. Trust करें. A child always knows कि आप उसको trust नहीं कर रहे. Just trust them. When you're talking to somebody, you, especially with children, you're really talking to their true self. Trust them. They're worthy of trust. जब true self में आप वो बंदा भी है, आप भी हैं, this trust. Right? So the trust and honesty, candor रखें, उनको दिख जाता है. True self वाले बंदे को दिख जाता है अगर आप कोई इस तरह उस तरह की बात कर रहे हैं and you don't really mean it. They can see through it. And that is the spiritual state of purity, that you can see whether they mean it or they don't mean it. और आप अपना positive intention long term की मैं, I've repeated this thing at the screens, you know, long term सोचे. Don't think about, I'm going to do it now, it must show me result now. Don't do that. वो उनको भी दिख जाता है आपको जल्दी लगी हुई है. You know, keep the long term perspective always. And remember your purpose, why you're doing this. You know, sometimes हमारे पास pressure life का इतना है कि आप purpose बन जाता है, ये नहीं होगा तो वो ये हो जाएगा. You know, who are we trying to please? You know, why are we so scared? It's all a false self think. ये जो आता है, it's not right the way to think like that. अगर ये हो रहा है तो आपके या emotions आपको control कर रहे हैं या mind control कर रहा है. In true self, you care about that person. You know, you're there for them. You're the stable person in their life for them, and that you're ready to serve them. And they're going through a journey. The journey is not always going to be, fun. We are going through struggles. They have to go through struggles. लेकिन आपको एक stable person बनना है उनके लिए. That's all they want. They don't want anything else. You know, so you want to change their condition and not have them. Don't do that. They have to go through difficulties. They have to realize it for themselves. You can't, lecture them and get them to be somebody else. They are where they are. तो ये ARC में जो हमने कहा कि आप उसको समझ लें, what their situation is. So these are a few tips of what to do if you're in a conflict. Firstly, remain calm and avoid becoming defensive. Defensive इंसान क्यों होता है? Why would you get defensive? Any ideas? Why would you get defensive? एक बंदा defensive क्यों होता है? कोई शेयर करेगा chat में? Why do we get defensive? You start feeling defensive. इसने मुझे ये क्यों बोला? ऐसे तो नहीं करना चाहिए था. ये मुझे blame कर रहा है, मैंने तो नहीं किया ऐसे. Yeah, okay. When you feel threatened, yeah, you're not confident of yourself. Fear में होने, okay. All right, you're fearful of the thing. So you can see कि आपका टेंशन उन पे नहीं है. किधर है आपका टेंशन? अपने ऊपर है. You got fixated in yourself. So the understanding or ARC लाना दूसरे के साथ, उससे तो आप हट गए. अभी तो आप अपने वॉर में चले गए. And you're trying to fight your own war with yourself. So if it's something that you feel, oh, I'm really feeling bad now, ये तो मुझे ये बोल रहा है, and this is not right, I'm feeling defensive, just take some time and go and sort yourself out. क्योंकि कोई belief system है आपका that you feel threatened and you feel that this is happening to you. Nobody can threaten you. Nobody on the planet can threaten you for you to be threatened when you got Allah Ta'ala support. Why should you feel threatened by anything? You lost the soul being in control, you being in control. Your emotion is in control or your mind is in control. यहाँ से भी picture आ रही है, यहाँ से भी ये पहले बोला था, अभी ये बोला है, ये. What is this? This is not you in control. So you need to take some time and collect yourself and say, okay, I need a few minutes to sort myself out, and that's it. It will be more constructive if we talk a little later when I've sorted my thoughts out a bit. So always make sure कि अगर किसी से बात करनी है कि you choose a good time and a place to talk. Be open to creative solutions, and then talk about issues, not people. जो चीज प्रॉब्लम है उसके बारे में बात करें. आपने ये बोला, आपने ये, this is not going to go anywhere. It's not going to achieve anything. Use I statements. You statements. आपने ये किया, you did this, you told me this. ये चीज conflict बढ़ाएगी. You say, I feel like this. It happened to me, and I got, I got to thinking about it. Just say, talk about yourself. They're interested in what you think, why you think that way. So use your I statement, acknowledge points of agreement. अगर कोई भी agreement हो उसको verbal बोले, क्योंकि क्या होगा, R आपकी ऊपर आ जाएगी, R ऊपर आएगी तो A भी ऊपर आएगी और communication भी सही direction में जाएगी, right? And describe your emotions. Yeah, I feel like this, and that helps a lot. If you say, I feel fearful about this thing, and, and then the other person can say, well, why do you feel fearful about it? Maybe you need to do get some more knowledge on this area, and you won't feel so, you feel not so confident on it. Aapka confidence aa jayega, fear nikal jayega. Ye data aap padh lein, ya ye kar lein course, So then talk about whatever your emotions are about that thing. Be very specific in what you need. Sometimes as females, we just don't know what we want, but we know we're not getting what we want. We just want something, and you're not saying the right thing. You sort of say to your spouse that you're expecting them to say something, and you don't know what they should say, but all you know is they're not saying it, and you're not feeling good, so they must be doing something wrong. So I'm just saying. Be specific in what you need and listen carefully and restate what you've heard. इससे भी बहुत फायदा होता है, because then they get a confirmation that you have understood what they said. So you just say what they, and listen carefully and restate it. So these things help to bring about the ARC and get the conflict resolution going. So छोटा सा example था यहाँ मैं आपको दिखाना चाह रही थी. It's like, a child, if you just look at what kind of conversations are taking place in our homes, so sometimes they go really wrong and they shouldn't be going that way. And we need to catch them when they go that way. So ye bachcha, he wants to go out and have a nice evening with his friends. So we say कि एक communication आपको openly करनी है, listen करना है actively, common ground ढूंढें, negotiate करें, clear expectations करें. लेकिन इसी मामले में जब बच्चा कह रहा है मैं ये करना चाह रहा हूँ, I want to go out with my friends and have a good time. We are planning to, go out to this concert or whatever, sport event or whatever. So, and the parents are worried about his homework and staying out late at night. They've got to worry about it. And they unka response है, you're always causing problems. So what is that going to do if he's going to say that, And then he says, you never let me have any fun. So bacha respond kar raha hai, and it's like, it's open communication, but it's not the right communication that is going to resolve the conflict. And the parent then says, oh, you're just trying to get your way. You're always trying to get your way. And no, we don't agree with you. And he's a teenager, he wants to do what he wants to do. He wants to be with his friends. And he says, you don't care about me or my friends. And the parent then says, you're only thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about your safety. You're not thinking about your studies. You're just thinking about your fun and your enjoyment. And then he says, you're just bossing me around. The parent gets angry and says, it's my way or the highway. Jo main keh raha hu, wo karo, nahi to out. There's no other way. Yeah. So then he wants to sort of still go and still get it right. So he said, I'll only do it if you let me stay up late. वो अपना compromise फिर भी दोनों करना चाह रहा है कि किसी तरह से कोई solution निकल आए कि वो जाए भी अपने दोस्तों के साथ, ये भी खुश हो जाए, वो भी अपने दोस्तों के साथ कर सके. And then they get angry and say, you were grounded for a month. And he ends up saying, I hate you, or something like that. So we see that this kind of conversation is happening in the homes, and we need to catch it very early on, right? If you look at the right conversations, जो ARC understanding को generate करती हैं, तो बच्चा कह रहा है मुझे ये करना है, so the parent can say, understand, you're excited about it. I'm concerned about your schoolwork and sleep, right? So you're saying actually that you're telling the child कि आपके concerns, you're being very specific, आपका problem क्या है? What is it that you really are concerned about? You want them to be, you can see how excited they are. So he says, I know you're worried about my grades. I'll make sure all homework is done before I go. तो उसने भी डुप्लीकेट कर लिया है कि माँ बाप की रियलिटी क्या है और वो कम्युनिकेट कर रहा है कि मैं इसको इस तरह सॉल्व करूंगा. Sounds like this is important to you, your whole event with your friends. Tell me more about it, why it is important to you. और वो उसको उसमें इतनी खुशी है. He will love to share. Okay, maybe we'll do this with my friends. I'll go out. We are meeting here. We've decided we'll, take this food and this, that. Let him hear him out, because that's what he wants to talk about. And he says, I've been waiting for it for months. It's a chance to be with friends and have fun. So we all agree, common ground में parents बोल रहे हैं कि हम सब माँ बाप भी और बच्चा भी all agree it is important for you to have a social life and enjoy your hobbies. So they all see that उसको negate नहीं कर रहे उसके जाने को बाहर. Yes, we all agree and I should do well in school too. वो अपनी तरफ से माँ बाप की चीज बोल रहा है जो माँ बाप को concern है. So how about we let you go if your homework is complete before you leave and you return to get 8 hours of sleep. You come on time back and you can have your sleep as well. I'm willing to do that, but I'll also need to make sure I have enough time to study for my upcoming test. So वो खुद ही responsibility ले रहा है बच्चा. Whatever the parents are saying, he's actually taking more responsibility than what they want him to do. So if the parent says, if you don't stick to the agreement, you'll need to make up missed study time and possibly miss future social events. I understand. I'll do my best to follow the plan. Does that make sense? So it's like, at what consciousness level ये बात हो रही है आपके ख्याल में? Is it at a high consciousness level or जो पिछला वाला था वो कहाँ पे था? We're looking at, are you talking to somebody in their true self over here in this example? Right? The parent and the child both are in true self, right? और उस पिछले वाले एग्जाम्पल में क्या था? दोनों ही कहाँ चले गए थे? दोनों false self में बैठे हुए. And a false self can't talk to a false self. You're just going to end up with a lot of arguments and you're not going to agree to anything. So आपकी duty बनती है as an adult, as a Muslim, to spot if the person is in the true self or false self, to continue the communication. Does that make sense? Right? So we're going to look at some ayats. Any questions up till here? Everybody's happy? Yeah? All right. So we talk about how do we talk to somebody, and I wanted to look at this ayat, Surah 16, 125 ayat, जिसमें अल्लाह ताला कह रहे हैं, invite की ayat है जिसमें है, invite to the way of your Rabb with wisdom and good instruction, and argue with them in a way that is best. Indeed, your Rabb is most knowing of who has strayed from his way, and he's most knowing of who is guided. So which part are we being warned against? किस किस्म की communication हमारी होनी चाहिए? What would you say? There's a specific kind of communication that Allah Ta'ala is telling us that we should have, right? Invite to the way of your Rabb with wisdom and good instruction. So, amai bol mein, it needs to have those qualities, right? Yes. So if you look at the deeper meaning of hikmat, and I won't go through every definition here, लेकिन जो भी हम किसी को भी invite कर रहे हैं, it should be with hikmat, with wisdom, so to restrain, prevent, withhold a person from acting in an evil or corrupt way. So that we are talking, उनको wisdom के साथ हम बोल रहे हैं when we ever talk to them. And you need to possess knowledge or science and wisdom. You need to have that in order to do it, to talk to somebody, right? Render a thing so that you can bring about stability, soundness in that person, free from defect or imperfection by your exercising your skill, right? So आप में इतनी काबिलियत होनी चाहिए बात करने के लिए कि आप दूसरी तरफ को स्टेबिलिटी पे लाएं, फर्मनेस पे लाएं. They become, more sure of themselves. They come into their true self. That's what you're really trying for them to be. And Allah Ta'ala says, with good instruction. So we look at the मुवाज़ इज़्ज़त को देखते हैं, उसका क्या मतलब है? With good instruction का translate हुआ है, admonish है कि warn करना है. You have to do it, you have to warn, you have to strongly encourage and urge. किसी को wrong नहीं बोलना है, किसी को insult नहीं करना. You have to strongly encourage and urge, preach करें, advise करें, warn करें, remind करें of that which should soften the heart by mention of reward or punishment. So it should soften their heart, give good advice or counsel, remind of the results of the affairs, and encourage which leads to repentance and reformation. So हमारी बातचीत भी इसी किस्म की होनी चाहिए when we instruct anybody towards anything that we want them to do, right? Or here the word used were hasanati. So what should that be? How should we do it? In a very beautiful way, in a very good way. We speak to them in a pleasing, be excellent. It says beautify the thing, to act well or behave with goodness or in a pleasing manner towards a person. Be gracious, be respectful. So it's really an ability to be able to instruct somebody towards the right path and bring them towards purity. Does that make sense? So, inshallah, and it's I work on this area because I need to. It's always a test, especially with close ones, which are spouse or which are kids or, which are close friends. It's how do you do it so that you're really a stable person for them. You're doing it with wisdom and you're doing it with good instruction, and they don't feel threatened or feel your presence as something that is there to make them change. They shouldn't feel that one. It should be their own motivation to improve themselves. Does that make sense? Yeah. So अगर आपके लिए कर रहे हैं तो lasting नहीं होएगा. You shouldn't want them to be that way. They should want them to be themselves that way. आपका मकसद ये है. And that is really the proper way to, as the ayat says, that you need to bring them to that point with good wisdom and, instruction. So the next one is, and of the people, Surah Baqarah 204, this is very interesting. And of the people is he whose speech pleases you in worldly life. And he calls Allah to witness as to what is in his heart, yet he is the fiercest of opponents. Yeah, हम मिलते हैं काफी लोगों से, उनकी बातचीत हमें बहुत मजे की लगती है. We enjoy it. You must have come across people like that. Have you come across? Yes. And they, so look at Yurjibu ka kya matlab hai? To wonder, marvel, you get really astonished, amazed, delighted, you admire it, you're greatly surprised, and and you feel, oh, I'm being included, he's talking to me, and this, and it's I had so much fun. And this is, Allah Ta'ala is warning against this person. We talked about this person being between fear and anger. When we looked at the emotional scale, we said that this person was at covert hostility. So ऊपर से तो वो आपको दिखा रहे हैं कि वो आपके best दोस्त है. Lekin behind it, they've got other intentions. They are so much at fear themselves. Lekin वो आपको दिखाते नहीं हैं. They're just trying to sort of play a part to get you to do what they want you to do. So इसी आयत को अगर हम देखें, how will you determine that something is pleasing you? How will you determine that? And of the people is he whose speech pleases you. What will you do? हमें इस आयत से ये सीखना चाहिए ना कि something is pleasing us, and then what should we do about it? What should we do? Should we say कि ये चीज हमें please नहीं करनी चाहिए? You get pleased about something. I meet somebody, he makes me really excited and happy, and I feel, wow, I wish I'd known this person earlier. All my dreams will come true. So what are you going to do? It's pleasing me. What should I do? Per this ayat, what should I do? Any answers? What should we do? Worldly life में बात हो रही है. Worldly life, please issue in worldly life. आपको attract कर रहा है towards worldly life की चीजों की तरह. Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good thing to do. And it will also be a good thing to see, well, why am I so pleased? What belief system is causing me to get so excited and happy about it? You know, what admiration is he giving me, or what feeling is he creating in me that I am getting persuaded into a worldly life? Yeah, you got to check yourself, because you're deviating from the path, and something in the worldly life is attracting you more, and you're leaving your true self to get into that self. So इसको थोड़ा सा watch करें, क्योंकि अक्सर we just don't realize it, and we've changed our direction in life because somebody came into our life and took us on that path. और इसी की continuation में fiercest opinion इसी बंदे के बारे में या person के बारे में अल्लाह ताला आगे भी बोल रहे हैं कि what does that person do? I mean, when he goes away, उसी बंदे की बात हो रहे है जो आपको वर्ल्डली लाइफ में बहुत उसकी बातचीत आपको बहुत खूबसूरत लगती है, बहुत अपीलिंग लगती है, उसी के बारे में बात हो रही है. And when he goes away, he strives throughout the land to cause corruption therein and destroys crops and animals, and Allah does not like corruption. So I wrote these meanings out because the translator has used a very narrow definition. Corruption ka sahi hai, to become evil, corrupted, decompose, become tainted, mischief, cause all this would come under fasad karna, violence karna, right? So he causes that in the land, therein, and destroys. अब हर था कि जो translation हुई उन्होंने crops किया है, but if you look at it, what is the definition? Wealth भी आ जाता है, goods भी आ जाता है, sustenance भी आ जाता है, work भी आ जाता है, labor भी आ जाता है, कोई भी gain, acquisition, reward, seed, produce, it even comes down to a wife, and it comes down to a road much trodden. वो भी इसी के word root meanings में आ जाता है. So therein destroys the crops, and you see a lot of areas being destroyed in our world today, right? So, and then it says, and animals. And animals, nasla hai, but nasla again is a very wide definition, which is to beget, and it covers progeny, which is descendants of person, animals, and plants. So nasl ho gayi, right? And do we see a nasl being destroyed at this point in time? Right? So it's like so important that we to realize कि हमने ऐसे लोगों को अपना leader बना दिया. We made them our leader, and they destroyed the planet, and they destroyed our family units. उनके level और standards drop किए हैं. Education system को खत्म किया, political system को खत्म किया, climate change की जो whatever is coming about, the whole planet is at risk. All animal kingdom, plant kingdom is at risk with them. And we went along with this person or people. So it's very important that we realize हम किसको power दे रहे हैं, because we have given them power, and we need to make sure that we give power to the right people. And mostly, we keep ourselves pure so that at least our children ko pehchan ho, batil or haq mein. They can't tell the difference anymore. Nobody can. It's so confusing, and we are told so many things, we don't know what to believe. And, it's just like cults are developing everywhere. In political systems, you look at it, it's just a cult system. It doesn't matter what the political person says, the followers will follow him. You recently आपने debate भी देखी होगी ट्रम्प की और Kamala Harris की, and people who side with Trump. Doesn't make no difference whatever he says, or however badly his debate went, it didn't matter. People, cult system है पूरा. You follow him, and it doesn't matter how bad or good he is, हम इसी को follow करें. And that is like the height of corruption, isn't it? The height of corruption. That people want him back in power after having seen what has gone wrong. So, inshallah, through our understanding, we need to get firstly ourselves right on batil and haq. Then we need to get our family right. That's where we begin. And I think that's a journey that when we start getting confident and feel that we've done that, we will also start influencing with that slowly and slowly the everything around us. So through this journey, we've looked at all these levels. We come to the 8 parts, alhamdulillah, and I hope it has brought some more understanding, and we are able to build our relationships and resolve conflict. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer those. The ayats that are quoted and are here, and they'll also be available in the course when you get to that section, and we'll go through more quizzes on this area too. So I'll wind up now on this area, and we had a little homework set for next time. But before we go into that, we can take any questions, Sister Fana, if there are anything anyone wants to say. Otherwise, we'll go on to describing what we are planning to do next time, inshallah. Sister Fana, have we got Sister Fana? Are you able to speak? How are we doing?
Yeah, we're doing good. Jazakallah khair. So yeah, subhanallah, I think we kind of I think we gave good summary of all the sessions we had and how to put all of it together. And I think the subhanallah, the last 2 ayahs are very, very profound as to, and profound realization as to which leaders we have selected for ourselves. Subhanallah. If you have any questions, please you can type it in the chat as well. या फिर आप hand raise कर लें and we'll unmute you and you can ask your question. I think Sister Aisha ने a question पूछा था right in the middle of the session. Let me just make sure we got that right. Yeah. So I think the question was, if the situation is a bad one, and someone is kind of coming at you and you're kind of getting defensive, should you ignore it or but I think you answered कि आप तो time लेकर come in true self and then deal with the situation. So Sasha, if you want to go ahead and raise your hand if you need more clarification on that, Sis Faida could do that. Sasha, is that clear or did you have any? This is Sasha has left, is she? Okay, I don't see her on the web. Okay, I think she's probably left. Okay, any other questions? Any other questions? Okay. So Sister Faida, how much time does it take, like if like the for the Samike person to come into his true self? I mean, any time range, if you're doing everything right, if you're kind of using these tools, kitna time lagta hai? I mean, is this something which we just to kind of is it just kind of to know, because I think we are very impatient. We want things jaldi solutions aa jaye, jaldi things get better. So how do we, how much time will it take, and how do we kind of wait through that time?
Well, I think it's basically, if you're looking at a relationship between yourself and someone else, and that person is not responding, not talking, so they're really not at a place where they can trust you, right? So that's the truth on it. And probably you could say that we could have gone too far in lecturing them or telling them or talking at them rather than to them. So वो सारे barriers खड़े हुए हैं. And they have got a resistance now on communicating with you. So true self ka bhi, they're probably in true self somewhere else, but not with you. It could be like that. And उसको वो जो गड़बड़ हो गई है, हमसे गलतियां होती हैं, we all make mistakes, especially in parenting we make mistakes because we don't know what to do. तो उसमें भी you have to give that space to that child, to the person. Just give them space and you stay in your true self. Just that's the main thing. If you stay in your true self, you're a good listener, they will see that occurring and stop lecturing them and, wanting them to be something different than what they are. And, they will come to a point even where they will say, you said this to me and I felt like this. That's a good sign when they start doing that. That I didn't like that, and you used to talk to me like this, and even you're saying that, or my saying it to my child that I made a mistake. That's okay. It's okay. It's a good thing to say, and children do realize it, that you were meaning to do the best for them. We always as parents mean to do the best for our children, but we sometimes do it the wrong way. And it's just okay to say that. And if they know that, and then you're not doing it anymore, it just gradually comes up and the relationship, inshallah, will build. Inshallah. That's the way I would approach it. And we are all going to go into true self and false self. You and I, we do it. It's not something, it's just a test of life, isn't it? So
True.
just being there for each other is quite key.
True. Yeah, despite that, not letting the other person, I think not leaving the relationship, but being at it, being there in the relationship, invested in it mentally, though it's testing your patience and though you may not be seeing any results, is I think also a very big dedication.
Yeah. You might be
Yeah.
heartbroken as well, if they're not looking at you or talking to you or including you. And that's the stage we've got to sort of bear through, because we created it, and this is just coming up to the conditions, suffering on up. And it's just part of the journey. उससे भी इंसान सीख जाता है, I think, just being patient.
True. Subhanallah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Sister Shazia has asked, if someone is getting hurt from their loved one and the other person doesn't know, and the person is scared, if they mention it to him, he will be defensive. So in such a situation, what should a person do? Should he just ignore, or he should still discuss and let the person know? So इसमें hurt हो रहा है. One person is getting hurt from the loved one, but the other person does not even know that you're getting hurt.
Yeah.
And you're scared. अगर कह दें तो शायद worse हो जाएगा, या any या वो defensive हो जाएगा, anything, or you will hurt these feelings, any kind of things which is preventing you from getting this message across.
Yeah, I mean, the message needs to get across, doesn't it, Sister Shazia? It's not something you can sit on, it's going to finish you off. You're already leaving your true self to be in fear. You already left that, and you're trying to regain your true self by even thinking कि मैं इसको sort out करूं. So that would be, just telling the person, use the I thing, use the I comment, I feel this way, and it would be nice if we could talk about it without, getting upset at each other. Just lay some ground rules of communication. I want to talk about something, but I don't want you to get upset with me or me to get upset with you or call each other names. We should just have these rules on talking, that when we finish the communication, we are both calm and we both care for each other. You know, that's the way we leave it, and we don't raise our voices or, you know, try and sort of get an atmosphere where you're actually both trying to be in true self when you're talking. That would be, you know.
So Subhan, so using the I statement and then setting some, like preparing them a little bit. This conversation is okay. What I need to tell this, and then again probably reinforcing that how much you're really committed to this relationship, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot to both of you, that relationship, and you can always, re-stress that point again and again, that your happiness, their happiness, the future, the children, everything, whatever it encompasses, the relationship. One should mention that, because that is what is bonding all of you together. So that is a reality, and stress the reality that there'll be so much could be achieved if it was in harmony.
Right. Yeah. Subhanallah, and the very fact that if you're thinking that the person, I mean, you're scared that the person, if you mention it to him, he will be defensive. So यहाँ पे एक assumption भी आ गई है ना, आप you're kind of getting out of the reality. You are assuming कि शायद वो defensive होगा. So you don't want to really assume, and but do it in a very nice way. जो आयत थी, subhanallah, with wisdom के साथ, and with a beautiful way, setting kind of preparing them a little bit, reinforcing क्या इसमें importance है, relationship आप कितने committed हो, उसके बाद फिर inshallah, talking inshallah will probably help. Okay, so Sister Shazia, did that help? If you please let us know, or you can even raise your hand. Yeah, Sister Shazia, okay, unmute Sister Sister Shazia को unmute करना है. I think, yeah, Sister Shazia is mute, so she can, yeah. Shazia, go ahead, आप unmute.
जज़ाकल्लाह खैर. फर्स्ट टाइम मुझे म्यूट किया आपने और मुझे फील हो रहा था, आई वाज फीलिंग द पेन ऑफ बीइंग म्यूटेड. जज़ाकल्लाह खैर मैम फरीदा. मुझे जो बहुत सारी चीज़ों के में सीखने को मिली, बट ये चीज़ कि हमें ग्राउंड सेट कर लेना चाहिए बात करने से पहले. मैंने कभी नहीं सोचा था कि मुझे पहले बात करनी. मैंने जब भी कोशिश की है या सोचा भी है तो मैंने स्टार्ट ही किया है बस. अच्छा, मैंने अपनी बात बोल दी. तो इस तरह से काफी दफा कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स हुए भी. तो ये एक अच्छी टिप है, बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट भी, कि अगर हम बात करने से पहले प्रिपेयर कर लें अगले बंदे को कि हम कुछ कहने जा रहे हैं जो कि इम्पोर्टेंट है और हमें किस तरह से एक दूसरे से बात करनी है. मुझे बाकी चीजों के साथ बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि मुझे बहुत कुछ लर्न करने को मिल रहा है. अच्छा, एक बात मैंने आपसे ये पूछनी थी कि जब हम कोई हमारे पास आता है, लाइक दूसरे केस में हम देखें कि मेरा बच्चा मेरे पास आता है, अभी उसने कुछ रियलाइज किया है और मैं अपने ट्रू सेल्फ में थी और वो अभी उसको फील हुआ और वो मेरे पास आके वो स्टार्ट करता है और वो कहता है कि दिस इज व्हाट यू सेड एंड आई वाज अपसेट एंड दैट. और तब इस पॉइंट पे मुझे किस तरह रिएक्ट करना चाहिए? क्या मुझे, आप बताएं मुझे कैसे रिएक्ट करना चाहिए? समटाइम्स ये होता है ना कि इंसान को मौका मिलता है, अच्छा अब तो ये आ गया ना, अब मैं ना इसको बताती हूँ. वो फीलिंग आती है ना, अच्छा हम इसको समझ आ गई है ना खुद ही, तो फिर हम उस टाइम पे अपना वो आई मीन कैसे हम उसको जवाब दें कि वो जो है ना हमारा मेहनत जो की भी होती है इतना टाइम अपना ट्रू सेल्फ दिखाने में, ये भी एक मेहनत मुश्किल काम है. वो हम किस तरह से उसको रिस्पांस दें बच्चे को, या जो भी
बच्चा आपके पास आ रहा है, फिर से बोलेंगे वो क्या कह रहे हैं आपको?
वो रियलाइज कर रहा है कि उसने कुछ मिस्टेक की है.
हाँ.
सो वो आपके पास आता है तो वो आपसे कहता है कि अच्छा आई वाज अपसेट और आई वाज यू नो नो सॉरी, वो आपके कंप्लेन करता है कि आपने जो कहा था वो मुझे फील हुआ।
Mhm.
तो
So why don't
उस
you just ask him, what did you feel? Tell me more about it. Why don't you just, आप तो अपने पे चले गए, आप उसी पे रहे ना, उस पे रहे। आप तो
नहीं,
सही कर चुके हैं, जो पहले कर चुके आप सही कर चुके, अभी भी
हम्म,
आप सही कर। आप उसके बिलीफ सिस्टम को तो चेक करें ना, उसको बुरा क्यों लगा? This is a good
अच्छा,
way to, he's come, you got upset. Oh, what made you upset? What was it that you didn't like? क्या चीज
नहीं,
थी?
सोचे अगर वो ये बोले कि अच्छा आपने मुझे उस टाइम पे बोला था कि तुम ट्रिप नहीं जा सकते, बाहर नहीं, दोस्तों के साथ नहीं जा सकते, तो मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगा, आप मेरे सारे फ्रेंड्स के को अलाउड है, आप मुझे अलाउ नहीं करती। तो इस तरह से अगर वो कुछ कहता है तो फिर
Hmm.
मैं लेक्चर शुरू करूंगी तो फिर ही बात खराब होगी।
Hmm. So you
मैं
can
चाह
explain, he's saying how he wants to go out with his friends, and you didn't let him. So you tell him your reasons, and वही आपको आपस में कोई एग्रीमेंट करनी पड़ेगी, उसको दोस्तों के साथ भी तो जाना है, तो
हम्म,
you can talk it out, and I'm sure you can reach a conclusion together.
हम्म, या
It's all about, affinity, reality, बढ़ाते जाएं reality.
हम्म,
आपको बहुत अच्छा लगता है दोस्तों के साथ, I can see you're very very happy with them. लेकिन स्टडीज भी तो इम्पोर्टेंट है ना, what do you think? स्टडीज इम्पोर्टेंट है नहीं है? you know
हम्म,
and you will reach inshallah both of your decision.
या इंशाल्लाह, या काफी इम्पोर्टेंट टिप्स हैं और बहुत प्रैक्टिकल चीजें हैं जो इंशाल्लाह अगर हम करेंगे तो वाकई इनके रिजल्ट्स आएंगे। सिस्टर ईशा का क्वेश्चन है